In the year of our Lord, 1701, the Republic of Venice went to war with the sovereign monarchy of Ralston. This war was over passage rights through the Adriatic Sea, though this point will rarely be brought up when the war is discussed by future historians. It was, like most wars, overstretched and too costly. Neither side could afford it, nor would they back down. Many lives were lost, and whatever the outcome, each nation would nurse its wounds for some time. The war raged on for 6 years, draining both countries' resources. But the Republic of Venice was older than Ralston and had deeper pockets. In a war of attrition, they would win, and both sides knew it. 3 generals from Ralston, 2 brothers and a close friend, came together to strategize, and came up with nothing. They would not win this war. In desperation, one reached out to a dark power and was told to make pilgrimage to Golgotha. With no other avenue, they spent 1 month sailing to the walls of Jerusalem, where they docked under cover of darkness. On the hill where the man named Jesus died, they met a figure, too old to identify as man or woman. It offered them a book, an already ancient thing made of pale leathers and filled with symbols that hurt their eyes to look upon. The thing smiled as they took it, a smile made of too many teeth. Full of dread for what they had seen and what they were about to do, they sailed for another month to get home. Things had gone badly in the time they were away. Soon they would have to surrender, and Ralston would fall into decline, one it was unlikely to survive. Whatever doubt the men had about using the knowledge in that book, their mind was set now. They cast its pages open and chanted dark incantations. And lo, did the dead walk upon the earth that night. Undead sailors hauled themselves into the Venetian boats. Soldiers dragged themselves from battlefields and clawed up from shallow graves to drive the Venetians from the land. The war was won. The Venetians could not fight Ralston's impossible numbers. They surrendered, the book was shut, and the dead were dead once more. The book was destroyed, but the world had noticed. Ralston had dark magic, and no shame in using it. Many enemies, without and within, were born that day. 1711. 3 years later, a child was born to one of the generals involved in unleashing the spell. A beautiful baby boy. A comet passed overhead that night, one that cycled between purple and green. Few saw it, but those that did walked away from their lives to explore more of the world before them. You were taken from your mother and left with a nursemaid for your first few days in this world. A heavy-set lady who helped raise many children in the town. She was lauded for her understanding of children and how their minds behaved, though nobody turned up at her funeral when she died of heart failure. You were born into wealth and status, and had all you could wish for. But your parents never had another child, and your father was often preoccupied with his work. Your mother, distant, sickly and delirious, you heard another mother say. Hoffman, the family steward, raised you more than they. It was a lonely childhood. 1718. You are 8 years old. You play with friends from school, 2 poorer boys, Diedrich and Flip. Your father disapproves. You play in the graveyard outside the city. Nobody goes there without an armed guard. But children do not care for such things. Children are small and fast and can outrun Ghoul, at least when the sun is up. One day, as you play, you hear a rustling coming from some trees. You all freeze. Then a stone whizzes out of the green and hits you on the head. You stare in disbelief, a slow trickle of blood running down your face, partially blocking sight from your left eye. A group of other children from the city emerge from the tree line. You recognize their leader, a boy named Willard. "You shouldn't be here," he calls out. "It's against the rules." He punches the palm of his hand. "This is for your own good." They stand tall, but you know what really scares them. "Go ahead. My father will be interested to find out which orphans beat me up." They all knew who your father was. It was, in truth, probably why they had come to fight with you. But they had not considered the consequences. Not until now. They broke pretty fast. First one, then another. Willard was the last to give up. "You won't have your father around to protect you forever," he said as he retreated. You forget about this comment until the day, many years later, you ride back into town to bury your father. That night, you are woken by a scratching sound at your window. You lift yourself up on one arm and rub your eyes with the other. The scratching sound turns to a chipping one, and a moment later there is a muffled sound of glass breaking. A thin black arm reaches in then and unlatches the window. You know that arm, that kind of arm. A ghoul. You scream as it pulls the window open and pulls itself into the room. You've never been so close to one. Its face is like a man's, but gaunt and twisted into a sorrowful, angry expression. It lands on the floor of your room with a sickening thud, and as it stands, it ripples and twists in unnatural ways. You scramble away from it, hot tears streaming down your face as you continue to scream, your throat already sore. The door behind you swings open. Your father steps in. As he looks at the creature, his face is expressionless. He enters the room, sword in hand, and feints to the left. As it lunges, he sidesteps to the right and slices downwards. The gore that sprays from the thing as it falls flicks onto your face. Your father looks down at you for a moment, then nods and leaves to make sure there are no others. You never play in the graveyard again. 1721. One morning, your mother comes to your school. She takes you out, even though classes are not finished. She says everything is okay, but you do not believe her. It's her appearance that gives her away. She is normally so perfect, but her hair is out of place, her dress loose, her makeup faded. She brings you around the town. First you stop to buy sugared apples, then she takes you shopping. New clothes, new books, new toys, a luggage trunk, She brings you to the castle, and with some whispered words and coins exchanged, the guard lets you into the grounds. You go to the pond and throw bread and watch fish pop their heads up to steal from the ducks. You walk the city walls, and the two of you take in the view. The sea to the west, the hills to the south, the forest to the east and north, and beyond the northern tree line, the road that leads to the capital. That, she tells you through teary eyes, is where you're going. You won't understand until you're older. Maybe not even then. You need more than I can give you, more than I can be. You protest. She cries. When she stops crying, she doesn't remember where you are, how you got there. A watchman brings you home. There your father glares at you, angry that you upset your mother, angry at your non-compliance. Hoffman brings you to your room to help you put your new clothes and books and toys into your new trunk. He tells you that she loves you, that this is for the best. A few days later, your carriage rides out of town. In your children's stories, events like this happen on rainy days, but today is sunny and clear-skied. As the carriage crests a hill, you can look back towards the city and see it all. The farms, the walls, the groves, the castle, the seas. Your home. How do you feel as you are taken away? Deep wound of betrayal. My parents are supposed to look after me, not discard me. 1722. A year has passed. More quickly than you might have expected. Winter's first snow falls lightly outside. You watch from your dorm and reflect on your time here. This year was hard on you. You started many fights. You ended many too. You've made enemies, yes, but also gained a lot of respect. Many of the students here are from prominent families and understand the might makes right mentality. 1725. Your schooling is done now. Your time here is over. You spent much of this year deciding what to do next. One of your professors said she saw something in you, a spark that would see you well in the world of courtly intrigue. This sounds exciting to you, and well paid too. So they put you in touch with a contact of theirs to begin your training. With your path decided, you found you had time before your training began, so you made the trip home to visit your parents and tell them of your plans. Your travel home feels faster than it was leaving. Perhaps mindset, perhaps age, perhaps because you have done it once already and can spy milestones. Whatever the reason, you arrive home to your mother and Hoffman awaiting you. Your father is not there, but joins you for dinner that evening. It had been 4 years since you were home. Not a long time for some, but a quarter of your life. You had this idea that you had matured, changed so much in that time, but your attempts to gain access to the library's restricted area are rejected. The master there refuses you, those books are not for children. You tell her of the books available to you in the school, and of your studies, and how you are able for the secrets hidden in her library's vaults, but she assures you that your mind is not ready for what you would find within. Despite this, it is good to be home again, to see your friends and family. You have a good summer. As you leave for your new training, you wonder how long until you come home next, and how you will have changed by then. 1727. You are nearly 2 years into your training now, and it goes largely as expected. You miss home, but the pangs grow less as time passes. Your mentor, an older lady named Valentina Zupan, takes you to the Scottish courts to watch the burning of a witch. The woman is accused of fornication with the devil, but Valentina says that the only crime this woman, and women burned like her, committed was striving for knowledge, studying the natural world and trying to understand it. Valentina wants you to see how other countries treat people who they cannot understand, how they treat knowledge they cannot fathom. She tells you then that a war has broken out at home. A lich, a powerful undead sorcerer, has begun raising the dead and marches on the capital. So far its armies show no sign of moving out of Ralston, but Venetian and Habsburg forces are amassing on their respective borders to repel anything that tries to cross them. Other nations will turn this on us. They will try to turn the Pope on us too, no doubt. They'd see us burned like that witch. This is our job, to slow the tide that comes for us. We shall travel to other courts, seeking help. We will get none. In reality, we're there to find the lips that whisper against us and do what we must to shut them, by deals or blackmail, whatever it takes. You were on a carriage to London that night, on the start of a tour of Europe that would carry on for the next year. Eventually, word reaches you that the Lich has been defeated, that its forces collapsed as the final blow was struck. Your father was at that battle, as was your uncle. You learn your uncle was wounded, but is well. Neither man died, though the same cannot be said for thousands of others in the country. The soldier's work is done now. Our work only gets harder. Venice will want to march in retaliation for 1708. Habsburg will want the land. Several others will want us stomped out for being too liberal. We must keep these wolves at bay while our country rebuilds. 1729. Your training complete, you land your first post. You found yourself stationed in the rapidly crumbling courts of Charles VI, Holy Roman Emperor. Being at the center of a declining empire is an interesting position. You watch the tired emperor try to hold together the infighting dukes, some baying for war on Spain to reclaim the throne there, others wanting to consolidate in order to regrow, and others still wanting to break free of the Habsburgs and go it alone. You find comfort in knowing that you matter not in this game. Then one night, there is a knock at your door. You open it and guards enter the room, sweeping it for others. Once they give it the clear, the Emperor himself enters. Though only 45, he looks older. His sunken eyes and the jowls on his face reminding you of a sick dog from your youth. He takes a seat by the fire and beckons you to do the same. There are a few pleasantries before he asks if Ralston will support the pragmatic sanction of 1713 and recognise his daughters as his heirs in order to keep his line alive. You know that he has severed ties with his siblings over this, and that your support may prop up the Empire for another generation and save it from spiraling further into chaos. You tell him that you will pass his request on to Her Majesty Ulka III and assure him that such a cause is dear to her heart, but that you cannot commit her to such a cause without consultation first. His eyes narrow as he sees through your politicking. He knows no word of this will reach Ulka and that he will not hear of it again. He excuses himself, and soon you are alone. The rest of your time here feels more lonely and isolating than it had before. 1731. You are through the early years of your career now. You have earned some recognition and accolades, some time from work, and a purse are made available to you. As you take some time to enjoy this leave, a terrible thing happens to you. A night on the town ends with your leg being severely damaged. You met with your friends, Elsa, Laszlo and Astrid. The four of you went to the local tavern. It is a busy night, with music playing on the stage and entertainers going from table to table. A fire roared, a pig was roasted, devilment was in the air. Many drinks in, you met a couple, Heta and Jobst. They joined your group. You shared stories over beers. They were going to a party and invited you along. You decided to go, even though your friends were calling it a night. You, Heta and Jobst wandered the streets drunkenly laughing, sharing a bottle of pumpkin seed liqueur you'd bought at the tavern. They brought you through an alleyway, a shortcut. They stopped and took out a bag of powder. Heta took a pinch and motioned to offer you some. As you grew near, she blew it in your face. Everything quickly became blurry, and then nothing. When you came to, you could not place where you were. Your head throbbed with a great pressure. You realized you were upside down, tied that way. You hung by your right ankle. Your left leg was tied behind your right one. Your knee bent at a 90-degree angle so your legs were perpendicular. Your arms were stretched out to your sides and folded back in at the elbow, then tied behind your back. You were tightly bound, unable to move. You could see out a window. You were high up. Inside the clock tower, you thought. There was movement around you. First, you heard Jobst speaking. No, not speaking. Chanting. A language you didn't know. You saw a figure walk before you. It wore a robe. You realized it was Heta when you saw the hair coming from her hood. She saw you were awake. Jobst? The chanting stopped. Another robed figure walked out before you. I am sorry, Jobst said, that this is happening to you. You seem nice. We had hoped to find a sacrifice we'd feel less guilty about. I guess it's not really a sacrifice if it's something you wanted rid of. He smiled. There was a kindness there that didn't sit well in the situation. The sun is coming up, Heta said. Jobst stood. Without saying anything else, they left. You wondered how long it would be until you would be found and let down. Then you smelled the smoke. A fire. They were burning the tower. A panic washed over you. How long until the flames spread and you burned? The smoke filled the room. You coughed. A bell sounded. Soon, the smoke began to die out. Somebody passing in the early hours had seen the fire and sounded the alarm. They were able to extinguish the flames before the fire could properly take hold. Soon you were found and cut down. You still bear a scar on your ankle. Heta and Jobst were never found. 1733. When you learned of your father's death, you were resting in your home. The ringing at the door alarmed you. It was late, too late for visitors. Unlikely an intruder would ring a bell, but nonetheless, you armed yourself. When you opened the door, the young woman must have seen your weapon, perhaps just your expression, and gasped. She apologized for delivering the...
Should we stop, sir?
Be on your way, stranger.
Thank you for helping me. I know you. You are the son of Zelig. It was not. Those men are fools. I am sorry. It is a sad day, and Lord Zelig was a good man.
Be wary. We Zelig dead the wolves are circling. The House of Van Eerstrik may have an important part in the future of the kingdom. Do not presume to know who your friends and enemies are.
Whoa there!
Welcome home, my lord. I trust your journey was a pleasant one. As you wish.